U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff is set to meet Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and other European leaders in Berlin this weekend, as Washington pushes for a plan to end Russia's war with its neighbour. This as the EU agreed to freeze Russian central bank assets held in Europe for as long as needed as part of its plan to use the cash to fund Ukraine's defence. Dasha Chernyshova filed this report for CNA from Moscow.
The European Commission on Friday agreed to indefinitely freeze €210 billion or nearly $250 billion of Russian sovereign assets in Europe, paving the way for the cash to be used by Ukraine in its conflict with Russia. Many of these assets, worth about €185 billion, are held by the Brussels-based financial institution Euroclear. But even before the EU's decision was made, Russian Central Bank fired its warning shot by suing Euroclear in a Moscow court, saying that its unlawful activities have caused damage to the bank. In a separate statement, the central bank said that all forms of unauthorized use of the assets of the Bank of Russia are illegal and contrary to international law, including violating the principle of sovereign immunity of assets. The Bank of Russia said that it reserved the right to use all available means to protect its interests if the proposed European Union initiatives are upheld or implemented. This reaction from Moscow comes as European nations rush to work out a plan to raise funds for Kyiv, using income from billions of Russia's assets frozen across the bloc. At a summit next week in Brussels, EU leaders will decide whether to use tens of billions from these assets to fund Ukraine's military and economic needs by using them as collateral for a loan to Kyiv. The plan would also need to satisfy Belgium, which hosts Euroclear and which has voiced its concerns over the loan proposal. Russian authorities have repeatedly warned the West that Moscow will respond to any move on its sovereign assets. Analysts suggest that Moscow could retaliate by taking action against Euroclear assets, seize frozen foreign private funds, or even EU investors' physical assets. For CNA, I'm Dasha Chernyshova in Moscow.